to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Happy to be hanging out with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day today and always having yourselves a wonderful, healthy, safe, and fun experience. So, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for your patience this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we get set to bring you a very special day of broadcasts. And I'm so excited for all the great stuff that's going to come up during this next couple hours. And so inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's popping. We're going to start things off with the LeMoyne College Dolphins. You know, Wednesday is Dolphin time at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So we'll jump into our Dolphin conversation. The Dolphin dive for this episode is with the swimming and diving team. So all too poetic, we have head coach Adam Zaczkowski and freshman Justin Enser, who has already made history with the LeMoyne College Dolphins as a freshman early on in Division I competition. So we'll hear from them momentarily, and then we'll jump into around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Travon Burke will be joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, to speak on the end of the Dino Babers era and Syracuse football moving forward as an alum of the Syracuse Orange, fullback on the team. So Travon will be joining me to continue the alumni conversation on Syracuse football moving forward from here. Then we'll start a new video, as we always do, in hour number 2 on Wednesdays with fantasy football content. Fantasy football in focus for NFL Week 12 with the Turkey Day trio of games. And every other game, we're going to be doing that in our second video this morning, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. So we'll take a step aside for a quick fast break. And when we come back, we will have the awesome conversation with Adam Zaczkowski and Justin Enser that you don't want to miss.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpazpopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpazpopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Zaczkowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome here to a very special edition of the Dolphin Dive here on campus at LeMoyne College on the Heights. And we are, of course, here with the Dolphins in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. And this is our swimming and diving spotlight with the head coach, Adam Zaczkowski, and one of our student athletes here, Justin Enser. So, Justin, welcome for the first time.
Thank you.
Happy to have you, Coach. Welcome back for the 47th time.
Hey,
So, always happy to have you here. So, first and foremost, Coach, why did you want Justin to be a part of this today?
Well, Justin has a historical, he had a historical swim, and so we wanted to showcase our performances, our successes, and he's a local guy from the Rochester area, so we always like to highlight some of those people here. But Justin was the first athlete in LeMoyne history to win an individual event at a Division I exclusive dual meet.
The first to win an individual event at a Division I exclusive. What does that mean to you?
That was, it was my first dual meet in college too. So it was to start off like that. It definitely took away some of the nerves, and it just got me more excited to see what could happen more into the season we got and with more training.
You made history for LeMoyne Swimming and Diving in Division I. You will always have your name next to that. What does that mean to you?
That's cool, especially first year being able to do that. It definitely feels special and definitely just feels cool.
Coach, how do you feel like Justin got there? What was it about his preparation, about what you saw in recruiting that made you believe that he could have such a moment?
I think the moment itself was emblematic of our whole team, our entire preparation, from when we got on campus and started swimming August 28th to that dual meet against Colgate. It was all the work we put in. Justin just happened to put those pieces together first.
Yeah.
And so he was able to break through initially, right? What makes him special as an athlete? When we started the recruiting process with Justin, before Justin actually spoke with his brother, who actually is at a different institution. And when we started talking with Justin, he's like, "Hey man, I like LeMoyne, but you should know something about me." I was like, "Okay, what is that?" He goes, "I've got this knee thing." I'm like, "What do you mean this knee thing?" I'm like, "You got two, right?" He's like, "No, I have this thing, and I think I need to have it looked at by a doctor." And I said, "All right." I said, "Do you do breaststroke?" He said, "No." I said, "Oh, well then, what's the big deal, right?" And so, right off the bat, he was honest with us, and honesty is one of the core values we have here on the swim team. And then from that moment on, I think we just clicked as an athlete, as a coach. I mean, his parents are wonderful people, and it's been that honesty ever since, and that commitment to the sport and to the institution. After he had a procedure done, I called you that day to make sure everything was good. And it's been like that since. And I know we made the right choice coming here, but we love having people like Justin who are really just tremendous student athletes.
Justin, why was it important for you to be honest?
Because obviously, if he was going to be my coach for the next 4 years, I couldn't hide anything from him, and it was just wanted to make sure he knew what he was getting if I did come here. Because obviously, I didn't know how it was going to turn out after my knee surgery, and I wanted to be just straight up right from the front, so then he could know what had senior year, because that was before my senior year started, so he could know why my times were where they were and what would happen, and he could make a decision if he still wanted me or if it was that kind of threw it away. But one of the first things he told me was it didn't affect how he saw me, and he still thought I'd be a great addition to the team, and it didn't change anything once he heard I was going to have to get surgery.
And to have that honesty, Adam, I mean, in a world where sometimes people treat facts as relative to who they are, there's not just simple facts like the sky is blue. It's like, well, it's blue to me, but it might be green to you.
Right.
So when you have someone that wanted to be honest, that met you with morals and values from the jump in recruiting, just what that said to you, because obviously you're looking for talent for your swimming and diving team,
Right.
but you're also looking for good people.
Mm-hmm.
So just what that meant to find that, especially in today's world where sometimes it doesn't feel as honest and as open as you would hope the world would be.
Well, building culture and building unity within a program, one of the cornerstones of the core is that honesty and being truthful and buying into what we're trying to do. Right? We talk about that with the LeMoyne way here, and choosing the better and helping people and being men and women for others, and honesty goes with that. And so when we're trying to be in alignment with what the athletic department's trying to do with its core values as a team, we want to try to bring in people that are that carry those principles. And right off the bat, Justin did, and then we knew it was going to be an excellent partnership right from the bat, right from the get-go.
So swimming and diving, why get into this world? Why make this your sport?
I have a 2-year-old brother, as he said, and he's 2 years older than me, and he swam first, and my parents just kind of threw him in just to test it out. We tested many sports when we were younger, and I got sick of sitting in the stands, so I got in a year later after sitting in the stands for a year, and just, I don't know. I mean, I guess I just kind of fell in love with it right away, and as the years went on, like, we both started like dropping time, and like we were both like going to meets, and it was just a travel aspect was so much fun. And then like we started making so many friendships off it. And I tried other sports in high school and middle school, but nothing just felt the same as it did in the pool. Like it was just, the atmosphere was completely different, and it's you versus yourself most of the time. Like your times don't lie, and it's really just it's just kind of a sport where you can be yourself and you don't have to worry about how much playing time your coach gives you. It's really, you prove to everyone else what you can do by doing your events, and it just seemed like a better sport for me than any other sport I tried.
I love that you love it because it's you versus you, and also because you didn't want to sit in the stands and have to sit there and watch your brother just do it, and you're just watching. So understood. You don't know LeMoyne as anything other than Division One.
Yeah.
So what's that been like to experience it so purely and to not have to see Division Two, Division One? You and I were talking off the air that I don't see Adam as a Division Two or One coach. I don't think he's ever had the mentality of let's bring in D2 talent and let's see how that goes. You know, there's the mentality of let's bring in the best of the best that we can find. And how has the experience been so far for you? Because this is all you've known.
I think it's been going very well. I mean, the practices are very challenging and they're not easy going. Like you don't get just rest every day, and it's not like how it's been like in high school and stuff like that. But really, like the guys, they're still competing at this level like they were last year. And it's like it wasn't just that's just Division Two talent in the past, and like he's just trying to rebuild. Like it's going right through. It's not a rebuild stage. It's those guys could swim at the Division One level, and now they're proving that. And it honestly just seems like it's the right fit. Like these guys have been fighting in Division Two, but they can also do it in Division One and prove that. So it doesn't really seem like any different. They don't show any difference in their swimming. Like they talk about how the practices are the same as they have in the past. Like they still trained as if they were Division One, and now they're just being able to prove that they can be and have higher competition.
It's everything you said to me, but you're hearing it come from one of your student athletes. What does that mean to you?
The culture is right. The mindset is right. The physicality is right. You know, we never really looked at what the symbol was, D1, D2, D3, right? We just knew we wanted to be the best program that we could have, the best swimmers, the best students that we could be here. And as an alumni, that's kind of what you want from the institution after you leave. And so now we're able to implement that, you know, on the pool deck as well, day after day. And so from my vantage point, it's like I told him to say that, but I didn't tell him to say that at all.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like the teaching that you're doing every day gets through, and that we're making student athletes better every day.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at the scheduling and look at what you've had and what's coming. What can you say about this first D1 campaign?
There are no gimmies, Dan. There are no gimmies. I think the biggest difference that we've found with, we've talked about two things. First off, what we found is that being in the pool and in a Division I environment, there's no letting up. Everybody fights for every place. In the past, we've seen maybe some lesser competition that they gave up a little bit, and we don't see that at all.
Yeah.
And then from day one, we talked about that we have to swim like we're the number one team in the country, because every Division I team doesn't want us to beat them, and every Division II and III school that we ever swim against wants to beat us. And so we have to be our best every week, every practice, because everybody's coming after us every day.
Love that. How do you feel like that's been going so far?
I think our results have shown that we are all in every meet.
So with that being said, we're going to play rapid fire.
All right.
And Coach knows all about this. I told you about it off the air. Justin, you get to ask me the first question when you're ready.
Have you ever swam before?
So here's the fun part of all this. So my mom swam forever. And so when I was a baby, she had me like in the pool, in diapers, and it was just a part of me. And then OCC had different like levels, level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they put me in there, and I had no issue. I tell people all the time I can breathe better underwater than I feel like I can hold my breath above water. So I just kind of got into it because it was in my family, and I never swam on a team, but I was one of like the top in the class to go to that level 4 diving at OCC, and they only took a few people. And now whenever I'm out and someone hasn't like known me for a while, like if I'm dating somebody, like she'll be like standing there with my mom, and she'll go, was he born in the water? Like, because I'll be in the water for 8 hours, and I will constantly be testing myself, and I love to swim underwater. So I'll just kind of pick a point in whatever pool I'm in and say, okay, I got to get from here to there without coming up once. So most people tell me that they think that I was born in like Atlantis, but so I've never been on a team, but I have a deeply rooted passion for it. And yeah, I mean, you have to kind of like pull me out of a pool most of the time. So let's say that. All right, Justin. If you were starring in a movie about your life, what would the movie be called? And what actor would play Adam Zaczkowski?
For the name,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, it could be. I don't know. It could be just. I don't know, because I'm trying to think of like other names for like. I don't know what it could be though, but be the next chapter, something like that. Because it's still the past, but there's still more to be shown, and I don't know. I guess it could be just called the next chapter.
Okay.
Like the build up. It could be the build up.
All right. And what actor's gonna play your coach?
I feel like Adam Sandler could fit the role.
Would it be a comedy or would it be serious? He's done both.
I think it could be a mix of both.
Okay.
But I don't know. I feel like Adam Sandler would play the perfect coach,
Okay.
just between the outfits and the personality.
Okay. All right, Coach. What's your first one for me?
Ooh, all right. So Dan, you've been to hundreds of sporting events.
Yes.
And 8 years ago on Halloween, I got to bring my father to the World Series when the Mets played the Royals. Mets were my team when I was growing up. My first recollection of baseball was the 1986 Mets. You got to take your father to the World Series. What was that like?
I don't know if I can live long enough to find the words if I live to be 100. I am very grateful to God. I think I spent more time, and I think I said this to you, but I spent more time watching my dad watch the game than I watched the game. I just kept looking to my left and just being like, he's here. Like he's alive. I get to be with my dad watching my favorite team in their stadium in the World Series. The last time they played
was 22 years ago in the World Series, and I watched that with my dad. And my dad is a Yankee fan, and it was the first time I ever saw any one of my teams win a championship. I threw my hat at him, and I was like, "I told you!" And then I ran upstairs and I woke my mom up and terrified her because she was sound asleep. And it was a couple of minutes after 10 o'clock at night. But to be with my dad almost 8 years to the day that you were with your dad, because we were on the 30th of October, it was really cool to feel like I got to share that with you. And I don't know if there's a greater moment in my life in sports than to be like, "You want to go to the World Series, Pop?" And him being like, "Yeah."
Yes.
So I don't have enough words to describe what it felt like to just be going through the process of walking to the game, flying, being at the game, and just looking to my left and looking at my dad, and walking down the street and looking at my dad, and my head going like, "You're here with your dad." And this like little kid in me was like, just cherish that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very emotional, but really cool. All right, Adam, you get to ask a question to Justin now.
All right. So when we were in the recruiting process, I was also talking to your roommate, and I thought Justin and your roommate, I'm not going to give him his name, you can give the name, we're going to make a great pairing. Dan, so Justin, 6'3", his roommate's 6'3", blonde hair. I mean, these are like carbon copy guys. Did we make the right connection on the roommate side? And what's his name?
Grant Straub. He's from Florida, and I think it was a great connection.
There you go.
It once I saw his commitment post, I ended up texting him. And I was like, "Congrats!" And I was like, "Looking forward to be your teammate." And we started talking, and then we exchanged numbers, and we would just talk randomly, like out through the summer and stuff. And then a couple weeks before school started, he was like, "Hey, do you want a room?" Because I know we talked about like stuff like that in the past. And then he was like, "Do you want a room?" And I said, "Sure." And so far this year, it's been a great experience. It's definitely helped having a summer roommate, because those 6:15 practices do not want to be walking down to the pool, especially once it's gotten colder.
Yeah.
But he's definitely helped me get out of bed some of those mornings. But no, I think it's a great connection. I'm really happy with the roommate I chose, and I think it's so far so well.
I like that. And to have a Florida guy willing to get you up in the cold is even more special because of all the heat that he's used to.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, you get to ask one to Coach.
So I know you were talking when you recruited me heavily about relays and the opportunities we have. And I know you guys graduated a couple and then lost the sophomore and stuff like that. And do you think we can still hit some of those marks with the group we got? And like, how far do you think we can really take that?
All right, so the realities of college sports is that there's roster changes. People come in, people leave, people voluntarily leave, transfer portal stuff happens. And so lots of times you start the season with one team, and sometimes you find yourself ending with different pieces.
Yeah.
And when we project out what we think we can do this season, we had to change our focus, right? We thought that the 800 freestyle relay was going to be a relay that we could really be competitive in, and I still think we can, 4x200 freestyle. But kind of where the things have aligned, I think we're looking more at the 4x50 or 200 freestyle relay and the 4x100 relay. And I think we may have the first LeMoyne team ever on our men's side under 3 minutes at 2:59 in the 4 free relay. And a year ago, I didn't think that was possible. I thought we were going to be more competitive, like I said, in the 8 free relay. But as we look at things now, I think that break in that 3 minute is going to be a big deal here. We've never been under 3:06, Dan. And I think that we have a shot being 2:59, and that's going to be an epic performance.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And I know you're always looking for a little bit more.
Yeah.
So they get up at earlier than 6:15 to be at the pool, but you can come at other times and come and see them here on campus. So our final note is going to be from these two gentlemen. Coach, you first. Why come to a meet, why come and support these teams?
You come to a swim meet to see individual athletes taking on other athletes in the best events that they can do. And you might not understand the sport, but you can understand racing. And you can understand the determination and the grit that it takes to stand next to someone, look him or her down, and to beat them in a race. And so that competition is fierce.
Yeah.
Why do you come to LeMoyne and come to a sporting event maybe versus some other ones? Because this is where you can actually be right courtside, poolside, pitch side. You can hear those conversations. You're not sitting up in the third tier. You're not just a random, person. You actually can see the athletes. You can see the coaching. You can hear the cheering. And that makes our experience unique relative to the Syracuse market.
I love that. And it's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Justin?
I think a huge thing, especially just swimming first, like the pools we've gone to and the teams I've seen swim, none of them are like ours where every single race, it's like it's for the win, where the entire team is behind the pool and behind your lane or right on the side of your lane cheering you on. No matter what place you're going to get, they're right there next to you and right there with you cheering you on. Everybody has each other's back, and it's just like how loud it is in that pool area every single race. And just the atmosphere, like how well everyone has each other's back, is just, you can't find it anywhere else.
Justin Enser, Adam Zaczkowski, myself, Dan Tortora. This edition of Dolphin Dive, perfect because we're talking about swimming and diving here on the Heights. And we hope that you will come out and support them on the road in their meets, as well as right here in Syracuse, New York. And as they have both described so well, the best thing I could say about LeMoyne is experience the difference. We'll talk with you soon. Be well.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Zaczkowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And we have an awesome conversation coming up for you, I should say, right now, here with Travon Burke, the Syracuse Orange fullback alum of the football program, speaking on the end of the Dino Babers era and Syracuse moving forward. Travon is no stranger to the broadcast. He's been on the show with me for many years. We've been able to do things on the phone. We've been able to sit in person and talk about the community in front of the community. And it is always something that I appreciate tremendously. So, and he tells it like it is. He's going to give you an honest answer. And where are we in this world if we can't speak freely? So, with that being said, Travon, how you doing?
I'm good, Dan. How you doing?
Doing well, man. And listen, I mean, it's always great to have you. Always great to hang out with you. So, before we go anywhere else, let's go to what's most important. How's family? How's everybody doing?
Family is good. Work going good. I've been working hard, man. Just trying to provide, trying to stay positive, Everything is going well. Kids getting bigger, and, my son just had another season and his first year in equipment, and he did pretty good, man. So I was definitely happy to see that and experience that on the other side, being a parent of the game. So it definitely was a good experience this year, and I'm just looking forward to the future. And just got to keep doing what I got to do, man, to stay on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And Travon, tell everybody how old your son is, because I want to share and share with his name as well, because I'd love to just kind of speak on him for a second here and how old he is in the game too, because it's really cool to see somebody come up in the game. So how old is he?
Okay, my oldest son is 7 years old.
Yep.
And his name is Travon Burke Jr., same exact name as me.
Yeah, so we got the junior here, and I love that, and I appreciate that. And so, you got Junior out there. He's doing his thing. He's out on the field. He's 7 years old. Does he love it? Can you see a little bit of you in him? Is he kind of like, Dad, I don't know? I mean, how is he with the football world?
Okay, like I said before, the first time he ever played the game, he definitely was. He just out of nowhere said, "Daddy, I want to play football like you," because I have my senior year, I have a big picture in my home, and it's a picture of me playing against Central Michigan. So he look at it all the time, even now. And one day he just told his mom, like, "Mommy, I want to play football like Daddy." So I wasn't really, that interested in him playing, because I didn't want him to be, me. He's not me. I want him to, choose his own path in life. But he one day just said, "Daddy, Mommy, I want to play football like Daddy," and we tried it out, and he, at first he struggled a little bit with the different, with the heat and being a little physical, but over the time he really adjusted, and then we put him in a couple camps, and then he just turned into this amazing kid that he is on the field today. And this year was his first year, playing in equipment, full pads, and he's 7 years old, and he played with the 8U group, and he did amazing. He did a lot. He did better than what I thought. So it just excites me to see what he's gonna do in the future.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see Trey Jr. get out there and do his thing, as we know that you love this sport so much and have an appreciation for it, and in that love for the sport, Travon, we've seen the end of the Dino Babers era. You and I have talked about this before, but now it's over. What are your thoughts as you reflect on the last 8 years of Syracuse football?
To be honest, I really don't have no thought about it, because, it's, being there, it's like, the outside thoughts of people that's not really in the locker room don't really matter. So, like, I really can't speak upon, the Dino Babers area. I thought it was a success at first, but then over time, things was repetitive. Things didn't really change. So, I mean, it could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. We never know. You know what I mean? But I feel like the university did what they felt like they had to do, man. But, I know, in experience, I know how hard it is to adjust to different coaches. And then them actually still playing, it's kind of rough for them. So I kind of feel for the kids, the players, because just out of nowhere, your coach is gone, and it's like, all right, what are we going to do now? Like, I experienced that, and it was a rough time for us, me and my teammates as well, losing a coach, in the middle of, out of nowhere, So I kind of feel for the kids. You never know what relationships that they had with him. You know what I mean? We just on the outside looking in for real, so I can't really speak upon it, but I don't, hopefully they did the right thing, but, I hate to see a man lose his job like that, but, I mean, I guess it was better for the program.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that caught me, Trey, is that we were in this situation that, and Kim says, I'm listening, son, so she want to send that off to you. Looking at the thing that John Wildhack said, the director of athletics at Syracuse, he said that he offered Dino the opportunity to coach the last game, and Dino declined. As a former student athlete, what does that mean to you? I mean, they tell him, hey, you're going to be fired, but you can coach the last game, and he says no. Your thoughts on that, what you would do in that situation?
I mean, I feel like, putting it that way, I feel like he wasn't there for the players then, because if you are there for the players, you're gonna ride it out to the wheels fall off. You know what the deal was or whatever, and it wasn't successful. Wasn't a successful deal, and he gave you an opportunity to coach, and it just goes to show that the program. He wasn't there for the program. It sounded like it was there for self. So that was a little pride for him, and I think that was the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean that to me was something that hit me the wrong way, because I was there when Schaefer got let go, and Schaefer stayed. I can't imagine that. They had just told him, like, hey, you're going to the press conference. See you later. He coached that last game, knowing, okay, this is it. This is the end. And he coached that game. He did the press conference. He didn't allow any questions. He stood up there. He was very emotional. And, I mean, I'll never forget that day, because I respect Schaefer, because I respect the man that he is more than anything else. And I will never forget that outside of the dome that day, he coached that last game. They won the game, picked him up on their shoulders. And at the end of that game, I was standing outside of stadium control, and he was out there with his car, and there was a few people out there, and I went over to him, and he decided to hug a few people. And I went over and I gave him a big hug, and I said, thank you for everything. And he thanked me, and it was emotional. And then I went over to him to hug him again, and I went to say it, and he said it in my ear before I could. He said, I love you. And to me, that was such a different experience than going to the Dome coming up this weekend after Thanksgiving. And it's like, oh, yeah, the coach is gone. He's never going to come back to Syracuse. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't thank the people that did right by him. He just left in the middle of the night. That is how it feels. And here's your interim head coach. We're doing a search, and that's it. So, I mean, I always thought in my relationships with Dino and with Scott that I value them both. And at the same time, I don't want to say at the same time, I value both of my relationships. But they're different men. And the way that Dino left, you could not like anybody, but, give the phone call to the people that do right by you. And there's a lot of conversations him and I had that he was clear to me, like, I like you, or I respect your work. But to have him just kind of walk out and peace, and that's it, to the players, to people like myself that he says that there's this bond and this connection. Schaefer lived by that. It killed Schaefer to coach that game, but the last thing he said to me was, "I love you," and so to me, I feel it some kind of way because I got close to both of these coaches, and the way that Scott lived by his word up till the end is different than what I'm seeing right now.
Right.
So it's just different. It just feels different. So we look at the school, we look at the situation right now, and here we are. The team was 41-55 under Dino. The records were 4-8, 4-8, 10-3, which was with Schaefer and his staff's guys. Then we go back down to 5-7, 1-10, 5-7, 7-6, and 5-6 right now, and so we are arguably, and this is my hometown, but I'm an impartial broadcaster, Travon, so we got to say the truth. I consider Syracuse to be the worst team in the ACC, not because of record right now, but because Dave Clawson's going to be fine at Wake Forest. He lost his quarterback due to the transfer portal after the quarterback had been there for years, Sam Hartman. So I don't see Wake Forest under Dave Clawson staying down. I don't see Dave Doran and NC State staying down because even in a bad season, they're not truly having a bad season. Duke's gotten better. Virginia is struggling, but Virginia also has a key win. Virginia Tech hasn't had the best year, but they have been able to, get some key wins and blow some teams out to show where they stand. We've seen Louisville rise in coach's first year. We've seen Georgia Tech rise in a coach's first year. Florida State, I told you all about Mike Norvell. Hopefully now you're seeing it. And so Miami's gotten better under Mario Cristobal. It seems like the entire conference is moving in one direction and Syracuse is moving in the other. Do you feel that or do you not feel that?
I mean, I feel where you're coming from, man. I just feel like, man, we need to get out there and get the players, man, that can fit the conference. Like, it's just a lot of work we have to do, man. Like, it's hard to bring people up here like that, man. Like, and, it's been so long, so I can't really, it's hard to speak upon that. It's been so long since I've been there, but, like, we definitely believe that we can, compete with anybody. We didn't care about, what names that we was playing against. Like, we definitely didn't care about none of that. We felt like we could compete, but now that, all the coaches that's been coming through and all the players that have been coming through, I don't know if the culture is the same there anymore. So I definitely feel that we can compete. It's just, we just got to fix the program up a little bit, man.
Well, and you look at fixing the program up and making some changes and seeing some things happen in a different way. What in your opinion can bring people into Syracuse? What is it about Syracuse that's sellable? I asked this question to the athletics director, John Wildhack, and he didn't give me a good enough reason. So I'm going to ask you, why Syracuse? You played at Syracuse. You blood, sweat, and tears. You were a student athlete there in the classroom, on the field. Why should somebody come to Syracuse, in your opinion?
I mean, we got the dome, man. Like, it's nothing like playing in a dome, man. We done played all over, and it's just nothing like that dome atmosphere. Like, it shouldn't be no reason why kids shouldn't want to come here. The university is a good university. We have everything that you need. The dome is just a different atmosphere. I just feel like we need to sell that to the kids more. We got what we asked for. We got the TV time. We got a couple rings. Like let's sell that more. Let's put that on the board. Like, okay, let's get more people. Let's get out there and let's try to sell that more. Man, it's kind of hard to put it in words, but just my experience of the dome was a different experience from everywhere else, man. Like, ain't nothing like playing in that dome.
Yeah, and so you talk about the dome, and obviously they use that to sell a lot, and we've seen that they typically bring recruits to basketball games, and which I think is kind of misleading because they see all these basketball fans that are there, and then they're like, hey, if you like how it looks in this little corner of the dome, imagine the whole thing full, but the whole thing hasn't been full in a while. How do you put butts in the seats again, Travon? How? I understand winning is the easy way to say, but besides just simply winning games, how does Syracuse University reconnect itself to the community of Syracuse and Central New York and to their fans? There is a disconnect between the university and the community. How do you connect it again?
Well, that's a funny question because I was just talking about this with coworkers, man. Like, we both as a community and as a university have to get that reconnection back because, you know, me being on both sides of the pedestal, man, like, the university and the city of Syracuse don't have no type of connections. Like, I feel like coaches, players should get out into the community more, you know, like try to, you know, Pop Warner games or, you know, Little League basketball games. Just show the community that you care. And then on the other side, we have to support what we only have the university here, so why not support it? You know, like it's always something that, you know, being in the community and still listening. People have so much negative things to say about Syracuse University. We don't have nothing else here. Like, why are we not supporting that? Why the dome is not full? It's nothing to do here, really. So, like, the dome should be filled up. But on the community side of it, the community feel like the university doesn't care about the community, and that's a big issue, and that's where this connection comes, you know. And they make it seem like, you know, it definitely is a totally different world on the university than it is in the inner city. But the inner city the university need to be more connected with the city. They need to put more, you know, do little activities for the children that you want to see come up and come to the university. Support the university. The community more. Stuff like that. We need to start, you know, becoming a family. But they so big on keeping kids away from the inner city because of the bad things, and that's all they promote to the kids at the university is the bad things about the community, and not make the university treat the kids in the community like nothing. So that's where the disconnection comes, and then it's already, you know, we really don't got fans that's really fans in the community. You know, we got a big fan group, but we don't have it like how we supposed to have it, how it should be, you know. So that we just gotta. It's hard, man. Like it's so much I want to say, man, but it's hard, man. Like we gotta get the community and the university back to one like it once was before.
Yeah, you know, and I agree with you, man. I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's so many problems, and you say that there's stuff you want to say, and this is a safe space to do so. Seamus Shanley sent his love to you, and he said something that I'm so happy he brought up because I need to talk about this, and I haven't yet on the show this week, and I would love to get your thoughts on it. I'm going to read it, and then we're going to talk about it. Seamus, I love you. By the way, you will be coming up as a guest very soon, as well as I'm reaching out to as many alumni as I can to speak on this football program, as I have done for many, many years. So Travon, Seamus said, Dan, I have an issue with the athletics director, John Wildhack. He's talking about setting the standard of a quote-unquote successful season as 7-5. If you want to be the best, we have to expect to win at all costs. Setting the standard of a 7-5 season in regards to a successful season or not is expecting mediocrity. Now, here's something that I've told people before. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. And I was in that room, and I asked questions to John Wildhack that day, and he didn't really answer my questions as thoroughly as I wanted. But I asked him, why Syracuse? I said, why should a coach come here? There's other jobs that are open right now. Why should somebody say no to Texas A&M, Michigan State, Mississippi State, Boise State, San Diego State? Why should they come to Syracuse? And he didn't fully answer that. He said, look at all the construction we're doing. And here's the reality. The amount of construction Syracuse is doing, when it's done, you could take all of Syracuse's new construction and put it into a corner of Florida State's facility. The reality of it all is Syracuse waited way too long to make their facilities better, and even making their facilities better, they're far behind the facilities that are in the conference of the ACC. And I can't speak to every single facility because I don't like to talk when I don't know what I'm talking about, unlike some other talking heads out there. I like to actually know what I'm saying. So I've been to Florida State, and I've seen the airplane hangar that is the football, workout facility. And that thing looks like it could put 3 jets in it, and it's insane. So, he didn't really answer my question there. What makes Syracuse special? And then on top of that, I also asked, do you want an Orange alum to be a head coach? Do you want somebody connected to the program? We'll talk about both of those topics in a second, but they kind of just marinated in what Seamus said to me. I want to get your thoughts, Trey, and people that are watching and listening, feel free to weigh in on this as well. When you hear your athletics director say, our mark this season was 7-5 and he didn't hit it, so we let him go, I had 2 questions in response to that, but I don't want to load it. So I'm going to ask you, Trey, and then I'll give my thoughts. 7-5, your athletics director says we had to hit 7-5, and somehow that deems success. What's your take on that?
I can't accept that, man. Like, you accepting losing. Like, we don't come here, we don't run all them sprints, we don't wake up early in the morning, missing our family, going to class on top of that to not win. Like, we don't nobody want to come here to not win. And that's a big problem to have. That attitude to have, to think that we can't do it, that we can't be the team. Like, that's unacceptable to me, man. Like, we don't play the game for that. We play to win. We want to make it to the national championship before. We want to do that. Like, we don't want to just come here and be like, all right, we just gonna play football, then we gonna try to go to the NFL. Like, that's not the goal. We want to win for our brothers and our family. Like, that kind of peed me off, man. Cause come on, man. Like, we got to do better. We got to do better.
So hearing that, I thought to myself, this is insane, because if you're fighting for 7-5, you're telling the ACC, we are never going to win. We are never going to be at the top. We are never going to play for a championship. We are never going to play for a national championship. It's a lot of things that I thought and other people thought, is that Syracuse, that the people that are leading Syracuse are comfortable with mediocrity. But when they publicly say we are, it's like, ew. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted to be like, okay, maybe I'm not seeing something. But when you come out publicly and you go, yeah, 7-5, that's our mark. And here's the question I asked myself. He's like, he didn't hit it, so we let him go. Dino didn't hit it in his first season. Dino didn't hit it in his second season. He didn't hit it in his 4th season, in his 5th season, or his 6th season. So my thought in my head, and I wanted to ask more questions, but Syracuse University allows certain outlets 1,000,000 questions and then allows a few of us some other questions. I would have loved to ask John Wildhack. My next question was going to be, if 5-6 isn't good enough this year, why didn't you fire Dino 2 seasons ago, the season before that? Why didn't you fire him in year 1, year 2, year 4, year 5, or year 6? That was my question, is why this year was it not enough when this has been, mediocrity has been the talk of the time. That's been the reality of Syracuse under Dino Babers and for a long time now. So I don't know if you thought that, Trey or Seamus, but in my mind, when he said it wasn't good enough this year, the first thing I thought of was, well, then why was it good enough 2 years ago?
Like, accepting failure like that, though, man, that's crazy, man. Like, what kid gonna want to come here? Don't nobody want to come from, like, we come from all over the country. Most of us, we at high school, we don't want championships. Not me, but most of us don't want championships. We done did it all. Why would we want to come to a school that's accepting, what do you say, 7-5 or 5-7? Like, no, like, come on now. Like, that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and
like,
go ahead.
Our mindset is wrong. Our mindset is wrong. We don't come here to lose. We don't want to lose. We don't believe we are going to lose. But I don't know, man. Like, that's ridiculous.
So Seamus responded here. He said, Burke and I were on that 2012 Maroon Pinstripe Bowl team. At Seamus, I was there in the building. I was there for both. I've been there for every Pinstripe Bowl that Syracuse has been in. The 2 wins and the loss last season. So Seamus said we went 7-5 regular season and 8-5 overall. We were happy to be able to have the opportunity to play in a bowl, but we all knew we should have been better and had some games we fell on the wrong side of the win-loss column. Kim went on to say here, SU really needs to advertise more in the community. When you go to a game, you really don't see any tailgating going on. If you want to tailgate on Comstock, you have to have a permit. I feel that people need to see what's going on. If I ride by and see people out having fun, what else is here? It's having fun. I would want to be a part of that. It's crazy. And then we talked about bringing back some people, some alumni. I mean, that's something that we're going to get into. But, I mean, here's something, Trey, and this hit me some kind of way. So you are close to Rob Drummond, and so am I. And Drum and I were doing our show, and we've done shows for almost a decade now. Well, we've done shows for 11 years together, but on site, on location in some respect. We've done a lot of work in the community, and him and I were doing a show the day that there was the LSU game when Syracuse played LSU and they had Leonard Fournette. And so the LSU fans showed up to Syracuse on like Wednesday or Thursday. They're partying They're partying Thursday. They're partying. If they came Wednesday, they're partying Wednesday. But they partied Thursday. They partied Friday. The game was at noon, and that is a nice way of the ACC telling you suck. But they came at noon, the game was at noon. So Saturday we were doing a show right off of Marshall Street, and there were people at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning standing outside of the bar waiting for them to open. When Rob and I did the show, we had over 200 people there. We had 5 deep in front of us. We had people downstairs, and there was another 20, 30 people standing outside of the window. We were backed up to the window. Him and I could not move, and 99.9% of them were LSU fans. There was about 10 people in there with Syracuse orange on. Everybody else was in purple and gold, and I looked around the room saying to myself, we're going to do the show no matter what, obviously, but where are the Syracuse fans at? And Syracuse fans would come into this establishment. They would come into this bar. They would see all the LSU people, and they would leave. And the ones that right, and the ones that stayed are arm in arm with the LSU people, going like, these people are great. So Rob and I do the show. We finish the and people are cheering. We're having a good time. We finish the show. There's a guy who's like on the arms of he's sitting on the arms of his buddy. He's up in the air. The show ends. He cheers, and we get this big loud cheer. Like, people are cheering, they're clapping, they're having a great time. They're like, "Yeah, you guys rule." We end the show. We go downstairs, and I go to the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom. I'm standing at the urinal. Guy next to me is an LSU fan. He goes, "Hey man, be real with me. Like, what do you think about us?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You guys are cool. I mean, you're like respectful to us, whatever." And he said, "You want to kick us out?" And I leaned into him. I said, "No, I want you to educate people on how to tailgate in Syracuse." And that day, they said there was 30,000 people in the Dome, 33,000 people in the Dome. 30,000 of those people were LSU fans. And when you get out drunk, when you have people out tailgate you in the community, out seat you in the community. I mean, LSU came in here and were probably astonished at the fact that there was 30,000 available seats. And, to me, I love that. They made me feel like college game day, and Rob and I had an amazing time. It's probably the best show that we've ever had in public, but it was spoken to so little Syracuse fans because they just simply didn't show up. So, I mean, I think that that's a problem, and that's a side of it, too, is when you are getting outdone in your own community, that is, I just remember looking at the Dome saying to myself, LSU made this a home game because Syracuse fans decided to sit at home and watch this game in their underwear, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, And that's always been a problem for us, man. Like like that, and that's on the community side where they need to step up. Like we need all of you guys to come out there and support. You know what I mean? And it goes to show what's going on in the high schools too. Like we need y'all to come out and support these kids and support these players, man, because that makes you want to play even that much harder, man. Like that's my mom speaking on there. My mom used to bring our whole family out there to see me and my big brother that he played before me. But our games used to always be packed from Pop Warner to high school, even college. Like I had a lot of people in the stands, but that's the problem. We don't have no support, man. I always get even when I was there, people would be like, "Oh, the only reason why I'm really supporting Syracuse is because you're there." You know what I mean? And I'm like, that shouldn't even be the case. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get why we don't have more supporters in the city, man. Like, that's a big issue and always been an issue, man. Like, I don't know, and I experienced a lot of the real tailgating when I was playing, and I always talk about this when we went to we played Clemson out there, and there was tailgating from miles and miles and miles, and we weren't even close to the stadium. And I'm just like, damn, this is what football really is about. Like, this is my first experience ever seeing tailgating like that, and it just brought a different feeling. So imagine seeing that every single week, every week you play. It's just something to play for. Like, you got so much pride and dignity into it now. Like, you got a lot to prove to people. Like, you got support, and then if you got that all the time, you don't want to let it down. But that's something that the community have to work on for itself as well.
Well, that's the thing. Speaking here with Travon Burke, a Syracuse Orange football alum here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, it's something that I just put up here. It is cheaper at times to go see a Syracuse football game than it is to go to the movies. And so you would rather go see something fake on a screen that was made millions of miles away than to see something in your community that's real, that's in front of your face. And I know some people will say to me, "Oh, Dan, I don't like football, blah, blah, blah." But okay, this is what I'm saying. If you are the most minimalistic football fan, there's only one football school in town. There's only one football team that is collegiate or professional in town. And so what are you going to do? I mean, there's one hockey, there's one, there's one, there's the AHL hockey team, there's the AAA baseball team, and there's one college football team in the area. And it stuns me. And like you said, you go to other places and you see other things. I went to Florida State. The game was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They were tailgating in Tallahassee at 9 a.m. And so 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2. So 2 to 3, 6 hours they're tailgating. Then they go to the game. Before they go to the game, a bunch of them stand outside of the statue. They honor the statue that has the Seminole on top of the horse. They go into the game. Then there's 90,000 people there. They're arm to arm. I can barely, I could barely shrug my shoulders. I'm watching this game, and then after the game ends, they're tailgating until 10 p.m. And then it's like, all right, well, where are we going from here? They spent an entire day, at least 13 hours, celebrating their football team. And Syracuse fans won't tailgate, walk up to the dome when the game is starting, and they'll leave in the third quarter. And for the life of me, and I can say this, I was born and raised here, and fans might be, "Oh, Dan, why are you attacking me?" I'm not attacking you. I'm asking you a question. When the team is winning by 20, you leave. When the team is losing by 20, you leave. And you know what the players said to me? It's something that I wondered, and I finally asked somebody. And Austin Wilson, a bunch of years ago, said to me, he goes, "You think we don't see them leave?" He said, "We see them leave. We watch them." And who would want to play for a city that abandons you when you're struggling? Who would want to play for a city that abandons you when you're succeeding? The fact that you leave in the third quarter it's crazy.
Hey, you remember the year that we made it to the Texas Bowl, right?
Yeah.
You remember when we played Boston College and we won in like the last minute when I think Josh caught that last pass and he scored, and when he scored, the dome was empty. We was losing, and I think it was maybe like a minute left or something like that. He ended up scoring last minute, and the dome was empty because they thought we were gonna lose.
Yeah.
Like like we seen that, so we already know, like, man, we playing for each other, man, like, and that's what it got to come to with the players, man, like if you ain't getting the support, you got to play for each other. Like, you can't go out there and just lay down, man. You got to play for each other. Even me not playing as much, I still, every practice, I still try to give them my all for my brothers because they needed it. They needed the look. So I did everything I could. And they'll tell you, man, like, I did everything that I could to give them a good look, So, like, we got to, at the end of the day, it got to be for each other, man. If it ain't for that locker room, it ain't for nothing else, man. The community, we need to do better as a community, man. Like, for real, like, we gotta go to these games, support these youth. We gotta sell the school, man. We gotta support this stuff, man, because it's only gonna keep getting worse and worse if we're not getting the support that we need, man. Looking for flaws in the university, man. We gotta cut that out, man. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna wake the community up as far as that, man. But as far as the players, man, just keep fighting, man. Keep fighting for what you want to do. You can do it, man. Just keep fighting. Don't give up. Keep your faith in God, and keep pushing for your goal, man. Keep trying to win for each other, man. And that's all that matters, man.
Yeah, and I agree. And like you said, keeping your faith in God more than anything else is the thing that matters most. It's this cyclical issue because the fans want to see wins, but then the fans don't show up and they leave in the third quarter. So then recruits that are in the crowd see you leave and then they don't want to play here. So then they don't want to play here. So then they don't win here. They win in other places and then you don't get the wins you want. It's a cyclical thing. It's a cyclical issue. The fans are part of the problem because they don't show up and they leave early. The school is part of the problem because they don't find the right people that care about the community and understand the community. You can't blame NIL because everybody is dealing with it. You can't blame the transfer portal because everybody is dealing with it. And when John Wildcat came out and was defending Dino in a 1-10 season, he blamed COVID. COVID affected the whole world. It didn't affect Syracuse in a bubble. So, it's like you cannot, as a fan, you cannot. It's like not voting and then complaining about the person that becomes the president. If you don't go out to the games, you don't have a right to speak. Now, if you can't make it to the game, right, if you're in a wheelchair and you have nobody to take you up, I understand that. I'm talking about you can get to the game, you have the money, you have the ability, you have the transportation, and you get on these message boards and you just rip everybody apart. You rip the players, you rip me for supporting the players, you rip the coaches, and you don't show up to the game. My thing is the fans are responsible for the fact that you don't create an atmosphere that people want to come play for. And then the coaches are the issue because a lot of the coaches don't understand the community. They don't recruit the community. And this whole narrative that there's nobody in the state of New York that's good enough to play football is beyond me because Servassier Dennis is in the NFL right now, and Syracuse didn't recruit him. Stevie Scott came out of Syracuse, went to Indiana. We look at John Phillips went to Boston College. Noah Jordan Williams went to Boston College. Latavius Murray went to UCF. He's still in the NFL, and he's an enigma because running backs are supposed to have 2.5 years, and I think he's been in the NFL like a decade almost. So, we look at all these Dorsey Levens, Nottingham. I mean, when you see... Right, and when you see that, and you really break it down, and people want to sit here and say that's one player, that's two players, that's three players, like who cares? The reality of the fact is I've never asked Syracuse University to bring in 100 players from Syracuse. I didn't ask them to use all their scholarships on Syracuse. what I asked Syracuse to do is to look in Central and Upstate New York and the state of New York in general and tell me that you can't find 3 players each year to give one of your many scholarships to. You can't find 3 out of 85 to give something to. You can't find 1 running back, 1 tight end, one quarterback, 1 D end, 1 DB. And I'll tell you what, if you got somebody from Syracuse, and Trey, you're a living example of this, and your mom wrote it too. If you have local players on the team, you know what fans are never going to leave the Dome, win or lose, high or low, up or down. Your mother is not going to walk out on you. Your father, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, they're not going to walk out on you. They're going to be at the game. If you have local kids, and I'm not saying they have to have 1 million, I'm saying they should have some. Riley Dixon's in the NFL. Mackie McPherson had his shot at the NFL. Mackie McPherson had 3,000-yard backs in 4 seasons when he was told that he was too small coming out of CBA. So when I look at this, Tyler Days from CNS, he went and played at BC. Tyler Rouse, he went to play at BC from Baldwinsville. When I look at the student athletes here in our community, and I know them. See, that's the thing. A lot of people just follow narratives and they don't do any research. That's today's America. I know these kids, and I love these kids, and I fight for these kids because I understand something. If they are talented enough to play at Syracuse, and they can get out there and do their thing, if Syracuse, gosh forbid, is 4-8 with a bunch of people from all over the country that nobody has a connection to, or they're 4-8 with kids from the community, I promise you 99.9% of the families and loved ones of those kids are not going to leave. They're going to stay there and cheer the entire time. And when people tell me I'm stupid and I'm crazy, Tim Green, Scott Schwades, Rob Drummond, look at Don McPherson, Brooklyn. If Syracuse didn't have talent from Central and Upstate New York and the state of New York, how come Syracuse's most profitable and best seasons came with talent in the state of New York? Where was Ernie Davis? Where was he when they found him? Elmira, New York. So you win a national championship in 1959 with New York people. You go undefeated in 1987 with New York people, but you're telling me now that some of the greatest history of Syracuse came from the Northeast and the state of New York, but you can't find one kid per year to give 1 scholarship to. That's beyond crazy to me.
Right. That's the issue, man, and that's why, and I feel like that's why a lot of people don't really like Syracuse as the university, man, from here. And I done heard it, man. I really did. From a lot of former football players that been around, they told me, man, like, man, I ain't never really liked Syracuse, man, because they don't come to their backyard and get the talent that's here. Like, and me being a person that went to the city high schools and played against a lot of talent, we had a lot of talent here. And I would take our talent against a lot of people's talent, man. Like, I was a prime example of it, man. My teammates will tell you, if you ever talk to them, they'll tell you, I had a lot of people afraid to tackle me, man. Like, so, I'm not boosting my own horn, but I always had that, that kind of image when it came to football. People was afraid to hit with me, and I had a lot of my college teammates afraid of me. And I'm not saying that just to boost my horn. It's a fact. So, like, like, I will take our talent over a lot of people's any day, man. Like, I feel like we can compete with a lot of people, man. Like. And I don't know, man. We got to do something. The community and the university got to do something where we can finally connect and we can be one. But right now, it's just like Syracuse University is its own city, and Syracuse, the city of Syracuse, is its own city, and it's separated. And that's the issue, man. And we have to get that family dynamic back when it comes to the city and the university.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. You said it perfectly. Syracuse University is its own city, and Syracuse, New York is its own city. Couldn't have said it better myself. So we look at the future and we look at the coaches. There are people that have said, bring Doug Marrone back, and I know Seamus said it. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I mean, if Doug Marrone comes back to Syracuse, I think that Big Bird is real. I mean, I don't see a world where that happens. And you have to think about it this way. You have to understand it this way. Why would he come back to Syracuse? Because don't even look at Doug Marrone. Dr. Gross made the hire. So John Wildhack, ego? Why would John Wildhack hire the same person that Dr. Gross hired? It looks like he's recycling someone else's idea, and these ADs want to have their own ideas. So if he recycled his idea, number one, they're going to say, oh, well, you just did what Daryl did. And if it works, they're going to give Daryl credit. So there's no way that John Wildhack's going to do that just ego-wise. And I look outside, I look at some of these other things. I'm looking at, some of these people. Kurt Signetti, James Madison, he has no connection to Syracuse. Willie Fritz, and this is the thing. I don't just cover Syracuse. People that pay attention to me know that I cover the nation of football. I keep an ear to the ground, and I cover the American Athletic Conference very heavily. I interview all of their coaches every single year to the best of my ability and their teams. I cover everyone in the conference. I cover everyone in the ACC. So I know a lot of these coaches, and I know Willie Fritz. And there's no why Willie Fritz would come up here, and he doesn't have a connection here. Now, he's won everywhere, and he's been the king of going to places and taking a program that's in the dumps and taking it out of the dumps. But Willie Fritz, to me, where is his connection to Central and Upstate New York? And he's in the South right now recruiting in New Orleans. That's a lot easier than recruiting up in Syracuse. So you see that side of it. Bob Chesney, they mention him from Holy Cross and say, okay, the same reason like you look at the James Madison coach, this is a stepping stone. It's an opportunity for them to get in the quote-unquote Power 5. But what did I just say? It is a stepping stone. So you bring somebody in here who's a coach that's younger and they want to grow and they leave the FCS for the FBS. That's all well and good. But if they do well at Syracuse, they're going to leave you too. They're going to go to Arkansas. They're going to go to LSU. They're going to go to Florida. Syracuse, for a Bob Chesney, to me, and I'm not speaking for them, I'm just saying my opinion. Bob Chesney or Kurt Signetti, my opinion on those guys is if they come to Syracuse, that's all well and good. But I think they would come to Syracuse and if they were good would say, cool, now we can go get more money somewhere else. So I don't think that that's a long-term fix. Manny Diaz, do people know what Manny Diaz did? Manny Diaz became the head coach at Temple. Then Miami called him and said, we want you to come back. His plane wasn't even cooled down yet. I don't even know if he landed in Philly. He accepted the job, turned around, went back to Miami, and was like, yeah, I'm not going to Temple. So I don't want somebody coming to Syracuse that couldn't keep his commitment to a school. That's something else I look at. And then, some of these other coaches, they're just names. And in some of the, I'm not going to knock, I'm not here to knock somebody's list. That's why I'm not telling you where the list came from. I'm just looking at names here. And Dan Mullen, did people not see that Dan Mullen had 3 years at Florida and it was atrocious? You want to get rid of Dino Babers, who had a terrible record, to hire Dan Mullen, who has a terrible record, and he's not even coaching right now. And then people would say to me, well, then why did you say Don McPherson? I said Don McPherson not because I pulled it out of my pocket. I said Don McPherson because, again, what did I tell y'all? I keep my ear to the ground. The people that are on my list are not on my list because I made it up. They're on my list because there's reasoning. Jimbo Fisher is a phone call Syracuse should make if they're serious. I don't think he'll come. I don't think that they'll give him the money that he wants. But Jimbo Fisher has proven in the ACC that he can win. He has proven in the ACC he can recruit. Syracuse desperately wants the state of Florida. He's had many years in Florida. I'm sure he still has his connections. He has his connections in the South, and he won in the SEC. And people want a big name. So they're telling me Jimbo Fisher is a joke, but you think Doug Marrone's real? You think Dan Mullen's real? You think Al Golden's real? Willie Fritz is real over Jimbo Fisher? The other names, Don McPherson, he has spent so many years in Syracuse after playing. He's done a ton of things for the university. He knows the alumni. He would hire alumni to be a part of the program. He would bring in the right people, and Syracuse likes him, and he rubs shoulders with the right people. So there's that side. Then you look at David Walker and say David Walker's another name that's come up. Now, he was unceremoniously let go of the Chicago Bears, but he's somebody who's coached it with 3 NFL teams, and he's also spent a lot of years at Syracuse coaching for a decade after he played at Syracuse. So there's something to be said to that connection and bringing the alumni back. But the name that makes the most sense, Trey, and I want to get your thoughts on, I know I'm throwing a lot of names, but I want you to say no, yes, yes, no, or whatever you want to say. The name that I saved to the end is Steve Addazio. This is why I saved the name till the end. Steve Addazio, and I know people flip their minds out because, oh, he went to Boston College, oh, he went 7-6, Dan. Come on now, Dan. Here's the thing about Steve Addazio. Many of you do not do your research because you're not all broadcasters and you're not all journalists. Just because you have a social media account doesn't mean you know how to do my job. So Steve Addazio is someone who got his first Division I head coaching opportunity under Paul Pasqualoni. Steve Addazio has stayed in touch with Syracuse since he left. He's gone to Notre Dame, he's gone to Indiana, he's gone to Florida. He has been on the staff that has won 2 BCS national championships. Syracuse complains that they want a better offensive line. He's the offensive line coach at Texas A&M. He was the offensive line coach at Syracuse. He has been an offensive line specialist in multiple places, including in places where you're winning national championships. So the guy who's connected to the offensive line, which you consider Syracuse's biggest issue, the guy who's connected to Syracuse for over 3 decades, the guy who went and recruited Syracuse at Boston College and at Colorado State, recruited Syracuse, Central and Upstate New York, the guy who knows the student athletes in the community, the guy who knows the high schools in the community, the guy who would hire Syracuse Orange alum to come to it, a guy whose price isn't going to be as high as the Jimbo Fishers and the Dan Mullins out there. So if you look at recruiting, alumni, offensive line issues, knows the community, loves the community, respects the community, doesn't see it as a stepping stone, wants to be here, and went to a bowl game 6 out of 7 years in the ACC with Boston College, which is more than Syracuse can say, why would Steve Addazio be the wrong pick?
I agree with you, man. I ain't even think about Steve Addazio. That'll be a great pick for us. Definitely.
So I mean, I'm trying to understand, the mentality of everything that Syracuse fans complain about, Steve Addazio has. Everything Orange alumni complain about, Steve Addazio has. Everything that local coaches complain about, Steve Addazio has. So why are we talking about ESPN analysts leaving the booth?
Right. I agree, man. I definitely agree with that.
The alumni don't feel connected, and I feel, and this is the funny thing, fans can say whatever they want to say because they're going to complain about no matter what happens, but the reality of it all is this to me. Syracuse Orange football alumni, like Travon Burke, like Rob Drummond, like D. Brown, like Nate Trout, all the people that you've heard from this week alone, and like the many, 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 many alumni that have been on my show, the common denominator amongst pretty much all of them is the statement of, we do not feel respected, loved, seen, heard. Syracuse does not need another outsider. That's why I love Willie Fritz, but he doesn't make sense. Sean Lewis doesn't make sense either. Well, he worked under Dino for a season. Okay, congratulations. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to bring someone to Syracuse who has no connection to the alumni, because the alumni are going to continue to feel the pain. And we talk about this, money, 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 money. I have had alumni tell me on the phone, Dan, we have checks. We have checks written out to Syracuse University. And all we asked was for Dino Babers to call us on the phone and to recognize that we are alive in society. And because he didn't call us, the check is sitting on my desk. So you talk about the alumni, and somebody told me you're obsessed with the alumni, like the alumni angle. I'm not obsessed with the alumni angle. I love the people that built the program. And if you don't love the people that built the program, please stop being a Syracuse fan. If you are mad at me for supporting Travon Burke, Rob Drummond, Todd Philcox, Don McPherson, Donovan McNabb, Joe Morris, Jim Brown, Floyd Little, Ernie Davis, and so on and so forth, please don't be a Syracuse fan. Because I will always support these guys. There was a story told to me, Trey, that there was a group of alumni within the last few years that came into Syracuse for a football game. They were told that they were not allowed to go into the Ernie Davis room. If alumni are not allowed into a room named after an alum, who's allowed in the Ernie Davis room? And if Ernie Davis was alive, would he shut the door and lock it to his brothers? So there is an alumni problem at Syracuse. If you hire an outsider, there will continue to be an alumni problem. The people that built the program will continue to be brokenhearted. You will disrespect your history, and the kids are going to suffer because of that, and you're going to lose money because these alumni have checks sitting on their desk that they will not give Syracuse until Syracuse gives them some respect. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, man. Like we said, we go back to, the community, the university. We have to, bring it back to one, man. Like, we have to support each other, and that's the thing. Communication, support. That's what we lacking right now in the city and also in the university. So like we just need to get it together as one to be able to be successful, man. Like that's what sums it all up in my thoughts, man. Because there's so much stuff going on, like even stuff that we probably don't even know about, and we need to fix it, man. We need to fix the problem because the program can be successful, but we need to make the right steps to get to success, man. Like, and it's gonna be a work in progress. Not gonna say it's gonna happen overnight, but it will happen. But we need to work, and it needs to start now. And like you said, like we need more people that built the program, that was a part of the program, that know what the program means, that really loves the program, to be a part of it. Simple.
Yeah, and Ashley Burke said, community connection's important. We have to build that connection while they're building up the city and the university. The community has to believe SU sports. The community not just act in its own bubble. We have students down the street that have never seen SU. They miss out on the community events that they have because and you look at that. I mean, we've seen this. We have seen, and the thing that breaks my heart is that I talk to these kids like Servassier Dennis, and I consider Servassier a friend. We have these conversations, and these kids grow up wearing orange. They grow up watching the games. They watch them with their grandparents. They watch it with their parents. They go to the Dome. And when this school says, you're not good enough for us, but Wisconsin, Rutgers, Indiana, sometimes Alabama, Pittsburgh, Penn State, Temple say, hey, you should come, Coastal Carolina, you should come play for us. When that happens, Syracuse needs to understand something, because I feel like Syracuse University only listens to one word, and that's money. Mm-hmm. When we look at, and see, that's the issue, when you're a transactional person and not a relationship person, you're doomed to fail. When we look at the money side of things, not recruiting the kids locally, and stop telling me that they're not good enough to be recruited, because the kids I'm talking about are being recruited by Division I schools in the Power 5, so just stop talking. But when we look at this and we see, and I'm upset about it because I'm so sick and tired of people being mad about the people that support the kids. You support the kids, I support the kids, Drum supports the kids. Why are you yelling at us for trying to take care of the future of Central and Upstate New York? So
they don't care, man. Like they don't care at all. Like it's always been like that. Like I witnessed it firsthand, man. And then to bring another point, like for me, like I played in the upstate downstate game and I won MVP of the game and I have not yet got recognition of it. I don't want it, I don't care for it, but I'm just saying. So a kid like that kind of bring hope down, because I worked hard to get that and I never got recognized for that, not even in my own high school. So like the support from the community, my family supported me, my friends supported me, but what about the people that don't know me personally? That's a big issue that the community had. Like we don't support ours, but we'll support a stranger. We'll wear a stranger jersey. We'll go take a picture with a stranger, but the people that's in your own backyard, you won't support. And that's always been a problem with the community.
Well, and that's the thing, and somebody just brought up here, and I got to shout this out, man. Like, Francis Bruno said, Rob Gronkowski was a local kid. He was from Amherst, New York. I mean, you look at these names. Blake Bortles' family was in Phoenix, and Blake Bortles won the Fiesta Bowl with UCF. I mean, and almost led the Jaguars to a Super Bowl. I was at the game where they lost by 4. So, I mean, to say that there's not talent in Central and Upstate New York is simply to just follow a narrative that's not true, and it breaks my heart. But to get back to the money side of things, you grow up a Syracuse fan. You live in Syracuse. Your grandparents wear orange. Your parents wear orange. You wear orange. Your siblings wear orange. You go to the games. Then you start getting recruited. You get a phone call from Temple. You get a phone call from Penn State. You get a phone call from North Carolina. You get a phone call from Wisconsin. You get a phone call from Coastal Carolina. You get a phone call from UCF. And you don't get much of anything from Syracuse. So you go to another school. Syracuse didn't give you an offer. Syracuse barely recruited you. Syracuse didn't talk to you that much. And what I hear from most of the kids, this is what most of the kids say to me. They say, Dan, I say, did you get offers? And they said, yeah. And I tell them what offers. I said, did Syracuse offer you? I said, they say no. I said, what does Syracuse do? I said, they call me, they tell me, they called me up and said, you're doing a good job, bud. Keep going. So they call them up and say, we saw your film. Keep going, young buck. But then these other schools are offering them, and all they get from Syracuse is lip service, and from the schools they get actual offers. So then what do those kids do? They go to the other schools. Now they're spurned by Syracuse. You know what one of those kids told me that ended up going to Boston College? He said, I want to play Syracuse every season so I can kick their blank. I had another kid tell me who went to Holy Cross, I wish we played Syracuse every single year, because he wanted to go to the Dome and show them what they were missing. You are not just not accepting kids. You're not accepting kids that are getting Division I offers in the FBS who you're breaking their heart. And when you say, well, Dan, the Holy Cross is an FCS, no. He got offers from the military schools, from Arizona, from San Diego State. He chose to go to Holy Cross because they gave him the most respect. He made that decision. He didn't have to go to FCS. So when we look at that, those kids are going to those schools. Now, the school that they grew up loving, they now hate Syracuse. They have now given all their clothes to Goodwill. Their family hates Syracuse. Their grandparents hate it. Their mom hates it. Their dad hates it. And now they're never going to wear Syracuse again. They may not come back to this community. They may not build a family in this community. So if Syracuse is just thinking about the money of it all, then think about this. By not recruiting the local kids that other Division I schools are coming in and poaching for your community, you are building a generation of hate that will build another generation of hate, and eventually you will lose money from that family for decades, if not centuries, because I know families that are so mad at Syracuse for how they treated their kids and their grandkids that they'll never go to the Dome again.
Right.
So, I mean, not recruiting locally, it's hurting you a lot more than they think it's hurting them. It's hurting them in the pocketbook.
Right.
So, if you had to pick a coach, and I know we talked about Steve Addazio making sense, do you have anybody that comes to mind?
Nah, I don't. Honestly, I don't. Like you definitely hit it on the head with Steve Addazio. But my opinion about a coach, man, like I always said, man, like we need to come out of our pocket and find somebody that want to come here, but don't just come here for the money side of it. We need to really, really go find somebody that really love this community, love this university, man. Like we gotta bring it back home base, man. We do. So a person like that's already connected, we need to go find that. We need to go find that, man. And I think that will work best for us, man. If we can find somebody that really cares about the community, that knows about the community, that cares about Syracuse University as one,
yeah,
that's what we need to go find. But like, far as me knowing a name, I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. But I wish the nut but the best. And I hope, that we find a coach that's gonna rock with us for a while, that's gonna build the program, and then when they do eventually leave, they put the program in the right hands, and we can continue to, ride this train. But until then, we just gonna hope and pray that, man, a miracle happen, man. And somebody want to come here, man, and get us right, because we need it.
Well, that's the thing. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've only had one coach ever outright tell me that they would want to come to Syracuse, and that's Steve Addazio. So, it's make the decision. You don't have to sell him. You don't have to sell the community. You don't have to sell the kids. He's going to take care of it, and he's going to bring the alumni back. And there's so many things that make sense with him that not even half, the other candidates can't even touch half of the list of Steve Addazio. And why am I backing him? Why am I believing in Steve Addazio? Because I grew up in this community. I know this community, and I'm not a shock jock radio person, and I'm not somebody that just wants you to click on my website. I care about the community. So the only choice that fits every need that we've been lacking for 2 decades is Steve Addazio. And either that or bringing back Paul Pasqualoni again. So, I mean, that's the reality of it all. I would love to go back in time and get Coach Mack and bring him here, or Coach Schwartzwalder and bring him here. But Steve Addazio gives you that line. He makes that connection. He brings that to you. And the other part of it too is, I don't know if you know this, Travon, but there's other Syracuse alumni who have had their kids in the transfer portal, and they've called Syracuse and never got a call back. They wanted their legacy kids to come in, and that didn't happen. And there's Syracuse alumni that are now coaching high schools, and they've said to Syracuse, like, hey, we got people in the DMV, we got all these guys to come to you, and they don't return the phone calls. And now those kids are going to all these other schools, and they're successful. So we're not talking about kids that can't play. We're talking about a school that doesn't listen.
Right. Pretty much.
So any final notes, any final word here on this? I mean, I love your transparency. I love your honesty, and I appreciate you. And I'm not sitting here trying to witch hunt Syracuse or knock Syracuse. I'm asking Syracuse to do the right thing for the first time in over 20 years. That's all I'm asking. I'm asking for you to admit the fact that when you fired Paul Pasqualoni, it was because he was 6-6 for 2 years. And in the last 20 years since you fired him, 6-6 has been your benchmark. So you fired a guy for ending his season at 6-6, but you've hired people where you just want to get to 6-6 or 7-5. So the mediocrity we didn't accept in the early 21st century is the mediocrity the university now fights for.
Right.
That's gross. That's gross, man. I feel like if you're a coach or you're a student athlete and you don't come into Syracuse wanting to win every game, play in the ACC championship, and be in the national title, what's the point of playing?
Right. What's the point of playing? Like, we don't come here for that. We want to win. Nobody want to lose. Nobody want to basically feel like you wasted time. Like, no, we want to feel like champions too, and we can get there. We just need to do what we need to do as a university and get the right person in that spot. Simple.
Yeah. So
let's work, man. Hey.
What'd you say?
I said, let's work, man. That's what we need to do. Let's work.
Yeah, and you and I, we can continue to do what we can continue to do, right? I can continue to put names out there. I can continue to tell people why Steve Addazio makes sense. I can continue to look at other coaches and have the D. Browns of the world on the show, who is an alum and he's coaching at Campbell right now, and why he makes sense. I can continue to have the conversations on the alumni connection and the local kids. I can continue to give examples on why it works and why recruiting locally. I mean, every coach that I've talked to that's been successful that I respect, every single coach that I respect has said to me, you recruit a 5 to 6 hour radius. You put a dot where your school is, and you draw a line out 5 to 6 hours, and you make a circle. And with that protractor, you look at that 6 hour radius, and you recruit that better than anybody else. So when people are yelling at me, the Coach's success is making sure in this area that Syracuse is competitive in the state of New York, the state of New Jersey, the state of Massachusetts, the state of Maryland, the state of Pennsylvania, the state of Vermont, the state of New Hampshire, little pieces of Ohio. That 6-hour radius is a real thing, and coaches are successful based on the 6-hour radius. So, I mean, if I speak to someone who's never going to change their mind, we are where we are. But the reality of it all is 6 out of 7 years that Steve Addazio went to a bowl game at Massachusetts with Boston College, 80% of his roster came from the Northeast. And so they say it can't be done, but he was better than Syracuse. So, I mean, I just think we gotta be the Northeast school that we are. We got to stop trying to be like everybody else. Stop trying to be Florida State. Stop trying to be Clemson, and just be Syracuse. Be running back you. Be punch you in the mouth, run the ball, condense the clock. Be stout defense, which we've had a good defense the last few years. Syracuse needs to stop trying to be a knockoff version of someone else's identity, and they need to find their own identity. That's what I believe.
I believe that too. I definitely believe that. Powerhouse, smash mouth football. Old days, old school football. That's all we need. We don't need all the tricky, the pretty stuff. Like let's go back to smash mouth football. And that's all we need, man. But we gotta make it happen, man. We gotta put somebody in that position and make it successful, man.
Well, and there's a person in Steve Addazio that would echo everything that we're saying here today. So, and if there's somebody else that would do the same thing, I would speak that too. So, we're how many years from Paul Pasqualoni, and we still miss Paul Pasqualoni. So that should tell you something. And Paul Pasqualoni's protege, Steve Addazio. And what did Steve do at Boston College? He hired Paul Pasqualoni. So he paid it forward to the guy that gave him his first opportunity to show that respect and that appreciation, and because he knows he can recruit the Northeast. So with that being said, Trey, I love you. I appreciate you. We got to hang out in person soon because it's been way too long. But you and I, this is not a hate. This is not, like I said, a witch hunt. We love Syracuse, and we want to see the community succeed. And there has to be a way where local kids, fans, alumni, prospective student athletes, current student athletes, and the school itself can all be in unison. And if you tell me that it doesn't make sense, well, then how come all these other schools are doing it? The reality of it all is, if we want Syracuse the city and Syracuse the university to be one, then we have to have people in power that value the community and value its people and understand that you can't put yourself on a castle and lock your doors because eventually you run out of resources.
Right.
I want to give you the last word. What do you want to say to fans or to anybody out there?
I just want to say, man, like I've been saying the whole interview, man, just let's as a community, let's be more supportive of the university, and as the university, let's get in the community more. And let's support this youth that's coming upon us now. Showing them opportunities, showing them different, showing them that they can be successful at the university. I'm a prime example of that. I never would have thought I would have been at a university, not because I wasn't talented enough, just because the community that I came up in, and it wasn't a lot of belief, it wasn't a lot of hope in the community. Let's give the kids that. Let's show the kids that, and let's show them that they can be successful up there. They can do it. They can go on and have a family and bring their family and show their family that, hey, I went to school here and I was successful here and I met a lot of good people here, and now I'm a businessman, and now I can give back to the community, I can give back to the university. Let's start that, and I think we will be successful if we all supported each other as one.
Yeah, it all comes down to community, showing love, and being good to each other. We're a lot stronger together than we are apart, and there's got to be a way to. I think history would make the university listen, but hopefully it will. Travon Burke, Syracuse Orange, fullback, alum, and from Corcoran High School in our community, one of the local talent pieces that found his way onto this program and made us proud here in the community and continue to make us proud. So, Trey, I hope to see you soon. I send you my love, like I said, as always. And I can't thank you enough for real talk and just saying what needs to be said and caring about this community, man. I'm happy to be fighting arm in arm with you in our community. It's an honor for me to do that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care.
Yeah.
That coming from Travon Burke once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Kim, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. I say Merry Christmas. I know people say Happy Holidays. And I say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays because I have friends that are Jewish, so Happy Hanukkah. But yeah, I say Merry Christmas because I believe in Jesus Christ, and no one's going to make me stop believing in Jesus Christ. And there's nothing crazy. It's weird. In 2023, it's crazy to believe in God, but when I was a kid, if we didn't believe in God, that was crazy. So, like, the world has, like, literally, like, just shifted in the total wrong direction. But, yes, if you get gifts on Christmas, you're celebrating Jesus' birthday. So if you don't believe in God, you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. If you don't believe in God, you shouldn't get presents on his birthday. I mean, that's just... And is there any other being in life? Is there any other anything? Is there anyone that you know that gives you presents on their birthday? So Jesus says, I don't want a cake. I don't want anything. I don't want any gifts. You keep all the gifts. You have a good time. Eat to your heart's desire. I just want you to get down on your knees in the morning and thank me for another day, and I want you to wish me a happy birthday. If you say, thank you, God, for waking me up today, Jesus, thank you for dying for us, you can have as many gifts as you want. Do you know anybody that does that? Do you know a human being that does that? I don't. So, all I can say in this world is it is not hard to be a good person. It is not hard to be kind. It is not hard to have manners and morals and values. And if you want to know what's wrong with America, it's what's wrong in our community of Syracuse, New York. The same thing that's wrong here is wrong on a grand scale. We don't believe in doing things together. We don't believe in working together. And when someone has an opinion and they have a place of power, even if that opinion is wrong, they will carry it out because they're so prideful. I admit I'm wrong all the time. Now, whenever I get my predictions right, 99.9% of the people that flip out on me never give me my flowers. When I'm wrong, oh my gosh, they're at the door. They're at the door with pitchforks and knives. But when I'm right, 2016 Syracuse Final Four, you're welcome. Post-Standard wrote a story about me and tried to make me look stupid, and look at what happened there. So my reality is this community needs people leading it that cares. This country needs people leading it that care. We are not good apart. We're just not. And I love my life. I love my community. I love my country. I love this world way too much to just accept the fact that we're supposed to just keep dividing and dividing and dividing. You can't divide by zero. I don't do this show to be a billionaire, and I don't do this show to have all the power in the world. I do this show, Wake Up Call is its name, and the tagline is where sports meets life, because I have this belief that I can help other people, that I should help other people, and I want to help other people, and I want other people to help me. I don't get on this show thinking that I'm a genius, that I'm right about everything, and that I can never be wrong. I get on this show hoping that I can spread God, spread love, spread positivity, ask the questions that provoke hopefully a better history to come. I can learn from you and you can learn from me. What we've lost in society is we don't talk with people, we talk at them. We don't talk in a community where we want to listen. We talk in a community where we listen to speak. We don't listen to... we listen to respond, not to hear. We listen to respond. There's a difference. Listening to respond is you listening to words come out of somebody's mouth where you're not hearing the words, you're just waiting for them to stop talking so that you can talk. Listening to hear means that you're sitting and you're actually taking in what somebody's saying, and you're thinking about how you want to respond to them, and you're giving them their space to have their freedom to share their ideas and their thoughts. We've lost that in this world. And Syracuse cannot afford to be closed-minded as a university right now as to picking the right person. I've continued to bang the drum about Steve Addazio because he fits every criteria that we're lacking. He fits everything that we are not. He fits everything that we used to be. He fits when Syracuse was good. He doesn't fit Syracuse being bad. He doesn't fit the last 20 years of Syracuse, but he fits before that. He fits Coach P. He fits Coach Mack. He fits that mold. He fits our community. He loves our community. He stands by our community. He recruits our kids. He loves our alumni. He gets us. He gets us. Would you rather have a coach that we have to beg to love us, to like us, to give us a chance, like we've done for a million years? Or do you want a coach that already loves and respects your community? Do you want somebody who gets you, or do you want somebody that you have to try and make understand you? That's the difference. And you can call me crazy and go with these other outlets that are throwing you names for the sake of just sensationalizing the vacancy. The reality of it all is, I would rather have somebody that loves Syracuse and has loved Syracuse on their own will for years than somebody I have to try and make like Syracuse for a few years before they take a better job. Period. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Make sure you head out to GG for the sports card hobby spot. Folks, you're not going to find people that care more than GG Cards and Breaks. They're in the hobby. They love the hobby. They're big kids, and that's what I love about it. I got to shout out the whole crew there. Got to give love to Josh as well as to Anthony and Alex, Joel, and the whole team at GG Cards and Breaks. They're open 7 days a week. They have a ton of fun when you come through. They remember people. They remember what you like. They remember what is important to you and that you value. And that's what I find to be so awesome, because as much as they are a business, they're also in the business of being a part of the community, caring about the community, and trying to build up the community by doing nice things, very friendly, kind things, like a simple call of saying, hey, we got this card in, or hey, we thought you'd be interested in this, or hey, Dan, we finally got those boxes in. So GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, Monday through Saturday, open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You could find out more information at ggcardsandbreaks.com, and definitely make your way over to GG Cards and Breaks and let them know that Wake Up Call sent you over their way. With that being said, we're going to end this video. I promised you that we were going to do fantasy football an hour or two, and we under-promise, over-deliver, because I wanted to have a more expansive conversation on Syracuse football. And every time I have the guests on the show, it doesn't matter who it is, it's just an honor of knowing so many good people like Travon, and time flies. I mean, I'm like, okay, we're going to talk for half an hour, and then we talk for over an hour. So we're going to do fantasy football in a new video for those of you that are here with us on YouTube, and youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Wherever you are in the world watching and listening, we're going to end this video and audio feed, and we're going to start a new one in just a couple minutes for Strictly Fantasy Football. So thank you for tuning in today's show. Thank you for being here with us. We have plenty more Wake Up Call coming up for you, as we're going to do 3 hours today instead of 2, which is something that I typically do, under promise, over deliver. So for everybody that's here with us, that was here for Adam Zaczkowski and Justin Enser of LeMoyne Swimming and Diving, with Justin already making history as a true freshman in Division I, and Travon Burke speaking with me about Syracuse football moving forward, we're going to have plenty more coming up in Fantasy Football in Focus. Talk about every single NFL matchup, including what I call the Turkey Day Trio for Thanksgiving. So we'll talk about all those games and everything else coming up with NFL Week 12, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. So be with us in just a couple minutes on Facebook, YouTube, and Podbean. And as always, I appreciate you. I thank you. And I send you all my love. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. God bless you all. We'll be back after this.